Justice Borat. Today I'll be telling you why the use of GMOs in crop production is greatly beneficial. Food is a necessity for the survival of mankind, and corn plays a giant role in food products. With the world full of technology and changing practices in agriculture, the consumer base is questioning the safety of some of these new advancements. The questioning is completely reasonable. We all want safe food and the healthiest option out there. The real question it comes down to is what practices of corn production are sustainable for meeting a growing demand in a safe and efficient manner. I believe the use of GMO corn seed is essential in the production of corn. It is greatly beneficial to those in the crop production industry, the economy, and is completely safe to the consumers and the environment. To start off, I'd like to provide a brief description and history of what GMOs are and how they are used. GMO stands for a genetically modified organism. It consists of altering the breeding of plants to select for different qualities and traits, such as water holding capacities, plant or resistance to chemicals used in modern weed control, and yield increases. It is a similar concept to when people crossbreed dogs or animals for the traits that they would like in those animals. Monsanto is considered the founding father to us farmers of modern large-scale GMO corn seed in the United States. They started selling GMO seeds commercially in the mid-1990s, and ever since, GMO seed sales have been very high and very beneficial to everyone. We will first evaluate the benefits that GMO corn seed brings to the United States farmers. Being a sixth-generation farmer in a larger scale grain production in Illinois, I have some very helpful first-hand experiences with the use of GMOs and farmers. One thing we use to determine our relative success from year to year on our farm is yields. We measure these yields in bushels per acre. A bushel of corn is 56 pounds of kernels, but changes depending on the moisture percentage of said corn. When comparing the harvest yields of GMO corn to conventional corn, GMO plants typically average 6 to 11% higher yields, according to research done by Purdue University. These numbers may not seem like a big difference to those not used to agriculture. Let's do a little math to explain what these numbers mean. We'll use Farmer John as an example, who farms 2,500 acres of corn in a year, and Farmer John yields 240 bushels per acre, a very common average for a farm in northern Illinois on a good year. This means at the end of harvest, Farmer John has 600,000 bushels of corn and sells it for $3.35 a bushel, $3.35, for a revenue of $2,010,000. If Farmer John planted non-GMO seed, his average yield would have been around 216 bushels per acre, assuming a 10% decrease. Farmer John would end up with $1.8 million of revenue. That's roughly $200,000 less, which is huge considering how expensive land, fuel, and other inputs are, and this is an example for just a small-scale farm. Although non-GMO corn may bring a slight premium in some markets with the right buyer, it is generally only 20 to 40 cents per bushel, according to AgWeb Premier. In a scenario with a 30-cent premium for the non-GMO corn, the revenue would still be less than conventional GMOs by $39,000, which is still quite a bit of money. Along with the yield increases, these GMO seeds also benefit farmers with how cost-effective they are and the lower use of chemicals used. As mentioned earlier, GMO seed has been bred to select for certain traits such as water holding capacities, pest resistance, and weed resistance. A very common trait using GMO seed is BT corn. BT corn is genetically modified to produce certain protein in the plant during growth. According to Rick Besson, an extension entomologist, at the University of Kentucky, this protein created is toxic to the European corn borer. This insect can be very, very harmful to crops if not controlled. The alternative to solving the corn borer issue or other pest issues would be the application of extra chemicals or pesticides. And these pesticides are very expensive. The economic benefit we'll move into next is where the consumers benefit from GMO corn the most. As we talked about earlier, with the use of GMO seed, corn yields would greatly fall, according to studies done at Purdue University. Without GMO corn, prices would increase roughly 25% in the United States. This would severely increase the price of any products that use corn as an input as well. For those who enjoy a nice juicy burger, you would have to pay a lot more for that burger. Corn is a major input in livestock production, and the price increase due to a lower supply would create much more competition for the commodity and raise those livestock prices. These price increases would also affect world hunger as well. We can all agree it's sad to see commercials on television of starving families in third world countries. Without the use of GMO corn, which is a major commodity worldwide, we would see an increase in these commercials. The decrease in supply would make it that much harder for those third world countries to gain access to products with corn inputs and corn in general, again due to price increases. We have a world hunger issue currently. Why would we want to make it worse? In addition to that, the United States corn production is made up of around 89% GMO crops, according to Targeted News Service. This means that without the use of GMO varieties and lower yield, we would see a drastic change and be very undersupplied, and prices would increase greatly. To counter this, we would have to import that extra corn to keep up with demand, and that would be very costly and take away from the rest of the world's supply. My final and one of the most important arguments on this topic are food safety. The opposing side of the GMO is mainly concerned with the food safety of the GMOs and the nutritional differences. I think it is safe to say the majority of people want the best for their health and body, and that is a very fair concern. There have been many studies done with GMOs since this safety issue has arose. Let's first ask, are GMOs safe to use as inputs of livestock production? Well, the answer is yes. The Federation of Animal Science Societies has done their fair share of research and studies and state that any milk, meat, or eggs from animals fed GMO-based crops in their feed are completely safe to eat. If it is safe for animals, shouldn't it also be safe for humans? Well, the answer again is yes. Humans in the United States have been eating GMO corn and products containing GMO corn since 1996 in the United States, Tufts University states. They then move on to bring that together with comparing the health differences such as autism, allergies, and diseases with those of Western European countries where GMOs are banned, and found there were no differences. Swiss research has also found that many different test subjects such as snails, worms, and flies were left unharmed after consuming kernels of Bt corn, which was bred to kill the corn borer. With all this research done, not a single negative case, so it's very fair to say that GMO crop consumption is perfectly safe for animals and humans. In conclusion, GMO corn varieties are greatly beneficial to modern day crop production and benefits the farmers economically, they're safe to eat, and benefits the world economically. I believe GMOs should be utilized to their maximum potential for continuing to feed today's growing population.